The Uzi submachine gun. Fun fact, during the 1960s to 1980s, this was the most sold SMG ever made. It had sold more units than anything else that had been made before or during the same period. It was used by law enforcement, military, and security companies across the world. And in Delta Force, it's kind of like the middle ground between all the other SMGs. So you have the SMGs that do higher damage per shot, and then you have the ones that do lower damage per shot but higher fire rate. The Uzi is kind of like right in the middle, doing 24 damage per shot with 780 RPM. And this small-sized SMG definitely packs a punch. So let's get right to the build. So starting off with a blank slate here, you do have quite a few attachments that you can put on the Uzi to really pimp it out. So starting off with the barrel here, you have three options. So you have the standard barrel, the competition performance long barrel, and then the quartermaster long barrel. So these two, I had tried them, but for how much range they give, it didn't really feel all that worth it because you're losing out on a lot of accuracy for this one, and this one just basically doesn't offer much as a whole. So I chose to go with the Uzi Assault standard barrel, which gives you positives across the board except for stability, but will make up for that lost stability in a little bit. So install that. For the muzzle device, I chose to go with the SMG Echo suppressor, so it does add a little bit of range to the weapon and a little bit of recoil control, but the main reason I chose to go with the suppressor is to really stay off the minimap, as I was playing quite aggressive and trying to get a lot of flanks off with the Uzi, but you could put something else if you want to use it more like face-to-face or control the recoil a little bit more, but this is just how I like to run it. So install that. For the handguard, so we're going to go and equip the handguard before putting a foregrip on here. So I chose to go with the Uzi rail handguard. It just gives you +3 control, +3 handling. You could technically put this, but then you don't really have the option to put a foregrip on there. It comes built in. So I just chose to go with this one because I wanted to put a specific foregrip on there. For the foregrip in question, I put a folding grip, which is right here. So this gives you +5 stability and +1 handling. I had tried other grips that increased, like, you know, accuracy and stuff like that, but that loss in stability, I was getting a lot of aim punch when people were firing back at me. In those instances where I did face off enemies face to face at maybe longer ranges. In CQB, it doesn't really matter. You're so close that it doesn't matter if you're getting aim punch, but at those maybe longer ranges, 20-ish meters, somebody's firing back at you, you're going to really feel it if the stability is insanely low. So I installed that. For the magazine, you have two options here, so the 35 round mag or the 45 round mag. I tried both. The 45 round is nice because obviously it is a big mag, but it just didn't feel like it was worth it for all the downsides that you get, so I just chose to go with the 35 round mag, which only gives you a penalty of -4 handling. Again, if you find yourself running out of ammo a lot, put the 45 round mag on there. I just had a reliable sidearm, the 6-shooter, but yeah, I just chose to go for the 35 round mag for this build. For the mag mount, we'll just put one on. There's no downsides. For the stock, I went with the UR Spec Ops tactical stock. It increases the stability further at the slight cost of handling with some extra control. For the optic, I simply chose to go with an RDS of my choice, which is the XR Quick Response Sight. Again, anything magnified on this just doesn't feel like it belongs there. And then I simply chose to put a laser. I believe I put maybe the green one on here to fit the aesthetic of the gun, but yeah, that's really up to you if you want to put one on there. It does increase your hipfire accuracy when you have the laser turned on, but also it does give away your position, so it's kind of a trade-off. But you can also turn this off if you want to use the tactical stance, and then it'll automatically turn on when you use the tactical stance in ADS. So moving on to the calibration, for the barrel, I chose to go with -50 grams and -10 millimeters. Again, that really low range pushes you to actually be aggressive with the weapon and, you know, take CQB fights more so than long range fights, so that loss in muzzle velocity and loss in firing stability doesn't feel too bad. For the foregrip, I chose to go with -1 slot and +20 millimeters, so you get extra ADS speed and more stability when moving, because I did find myself moving a lot when I was taking those longer range fights, and I'm saying, I use the word longer here very loosely. I wasn't taking fights at 100 meters, albeit there was the rare occasion in which I did. For the stock, I chose to put +50 grams and +4 slots to get extra firing stability and extra control. Aiming stability while breathing, I wasn't using breathing a lot with the Uzi, and then the ADS speed, it didn't feel too bad. I really wanted to get that extra firing stability in this case. For the optic, as per usual, always -20 millimeters on the eye relief so I can get it closer to my pupils. So what's nice about the Uzi is it unlocks immediately as soon as you start playing Delta Force, but in order to use this specific build, you will need to level it up to 44 for the SMG Echo Suppressor, but if you want to completely forego that suppressor, it is a lot lower than that. Now, one thing that's slightly particular about the Uzi is it does the same amount of damage no matter where you are hitting your target, except of course with headshots, but we all know that headshot damage modifiers for SMGs are pretty low, with the exception of the Vitiaz. But yeah, the Uzi is doing 24 damage across the board, 30 to the head, so it's taking you 5 shots to kill overall to down an enemy with a fire rate of 780 RPM. You can play really aggressive with this thing. You do have to be careful because you can still get outgunned by a lot of other SMGs that have a higher TTK, or I should say faster TTK, but I did find myself enjoying the Uzi quite a bit. It was really powerful when you were getting enemies by surprise. You could down multiple enemies back to back because of the slightly higher damage model, and the high handling on this build makes it so that when you get face to face versus somebody else, you're ADSing or hip firing super quickly, as opposed to a lot of other weapon classes that have really slow sprint to hip fire speed or slow ADS speed. The Uzi itself has really high handling base, which makes it incredibly good when you're playing aggressive because you're going to be able to ADS faster than most people, unless of course people are just bumping up all their points into the handling stat, but then they're compensating and they're losing a lot of points on all the other stats, which arguably will make the weapon worse overall. I think one thing that would be nice for the Uzi is to have the 50 round mag. Now there is one available in real life, I believe, a 50 round mag. I even think there's like a 100 round mag for this freaking thing, if I remember correctly, in Tarkov. That would be absolutely insane if they had those really high capacity mags allowing you to get insane flanks off and mow down like countless enemies. Maybe one day we'll have more attachments like this, but overall the Uzi is a very recommendable weapon. It unlocks straight off the rip, so if you're looking for something that can be competitive with a lot of the higher tier SMGs, then the Uzi might fit the bill because a lot of the other SMGs unlock it a little bit later. So maybe use your weapon XP cards to be able to max this weapon out, or at least level up to 44 to be able to use this specific build that I showcased today. But that'll be it for today's video. The weapon share code will be in the description down below, as well as in the top pinned comment as per usual. Same thing with the G sheets for all the past builds I've done for all the weapons in Delta Force. I'm almost done getting through every single weapon, but if you want to see one in an upcoming video, leave it in the comment section down below. If you have a weird build that you want to share too, I was thinking of doing something a little bit different, like reviewing viewer builds. That sounded kind of dumb, but I digress. Leave it down there as well. I'd be curious to see what you guys can cook up in terms of builds. And now I'll leave you with a few highlight clips of me using the Uzi. I just want to point out that was a funny alliteration. In any case, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.
I'm on my way! On screen cover! I'm in for you! Hold on! Enemy here! Target eliminated! Take this med kit!